Have you ever spent hours and hours on end searching for a specific font without any success? Most would probably say yes, and maybe this is why you're here watching this video. Even if something like this hasn't happened to you yet, it wouldn't hurt to have the right information at your disposal. There's nothing more frustrating than searching every single font repository on the internet to find that perfect font, but still not being able to find it. This happens most frequently to people who are either designing something or they like to showcase creativity in their field of work. The thought of creating your own custom font might have come through your mind at some point, and it's something that you shouldn't immediately disregard. Many people think that creating their own font will take a lot of time and effort, and that they just wouldn't be able to do it. Most of the time, these misconceptions are created due to a lack of knowledge. The steps to create a font aren't super simple, but they're not extremely complicated either. If you actually spend some time trying to learn more about how fonts are created, you'll find that it's a rather straightforward process with immense benefits. My name is Grace from PrintBest, and today I'm going to show you how you can create your very own customized font. If you find the information in this video useful, be sure to like and share this video with your friends, family, and colleagues so that they can learn to create their own fonts as well. And don't forget to subscribe to the PrintBest channel for more helpful videos. Creating a font will not only allow you to find the perfect fit without any compromises, but you'll also be able to avoid the dreaded copyright law violations. Most of the time, copyright laws are so convoluted that using a publicly available font is a risky prospect. Most fonts that you find online are either already registered by someone or they heavily take inspiration from a pre-existing one. However, creating your own font will save you from all of this hassle while providing a unique aesthetic. So without further ado, let's jump right in and learn how you can design your own characters for your custom font. Number 1, what's your why? It's important to understand why you want to create a custom font before you set up doing so. You have to have a definite goal in mind if you want to create a font that you'll be satisfied with. Without a proper reason, your characters will look boring and probably unappealing. It's very easy to tell which fonts have been developed for a definite purpose, and these are the fonts that send a clear message to the reader. A few things that you should keep in mind to decide the reason behind your own font are the desired applications of the font, the size you'll be using, the target demographic, the inspiration for your font, and anything else that's relevant. Once you've answered all these questions, you can proceed on to the next stage of font development, which is the most exciting one. Number 2, prototyping. The one thing that most designers do before creating an actual design is to create prototypes. What this means is that you don't directly start the development of the font. Instead, you should focus on creating the font on paper. You can bring your vision to life much more easily on paper as compared to doing it on a computer. There are some awkward shapes in every font, and designing them on a computer wouldn't be very easy, especially if you aren't an expert at graphic designing. The font you develop on paper can then easily be converted into a computerized format with the use of dedicated software. So don't worry about turning your designs into a font and just focus on the development process first. Number 3, choose your weapon. Now that you've decided what type of font you want to develop and you have all the designs ready, it's time to convert it into a font. But you might be wondering how you can take a pen and paper design and convert it into a digital format. Thankfully, with developments in the field of graphic designing, it's pretty easy to do that. There are lots of different software tools like FontForge, BirdForge, and more that are available for free or for a small fee. It's your choice which software you end up going with, and software being free doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad or it underperforms as compared to the paid options. Do your research though about the subject and try to find out a few different tools before setting out on your final choice. Number 4, get started. A huge hurdle that many people face along the way is to get started once they're done with all of the other steps. This is a common problem, especially amongst creatives, wherein the initial inertia of starting out is just too high. This gets even worse if you're not used to working on the software that you've chosen to develop your font. This is why it's a good idea to get some practice beforehand so that you don't feel uncomfortable in using your preferred tool. You should also study some of the basic concepts about fonts like glyph, baseline, stem, bold, and more so that you don't get confused later on. Once you get started with the development process, it won't be very difficult for you to finish up your font. It doesn't usually take a lot of time. However, after you're finally finished with your font, there's still a bit of a way to go, and we'll be covering that in our last point, which is number 5. refine, revise, and redefine. Many people don't realize this when they start out, but editing the font to perfection takes a lot of time. When you're developing the character set, you won't be focusing on the different characters working together. Instead, your primary focus would be on creating beautiful individual characters that match your needs. However, once you club these characters together to make words and sentences, there'll be some glaring flaws that will become immediately apparent. You'll have to spend some time making sure that each and every character flows together with proper spacing. You should also test out your characters in different sizes, since you'll most likely be using them in different scenarios. So if your font looks fine when it's small, but it distorts when it's scaled up, it's a good idea to make some adjustments so that there are no issues further down the line. Another good idea is to print your characters on a piece of paper so that you can get a new perspective, which will help you spot the subtle mistakes that you might have missed otherwise. So those were some of the steps that are involved in creating a new font, and you should be good to go if you're able to understand the importance of each step that we discussed. You can also always divide these larger steps into smaller ones to make it easier for yourself to process. Remember that creating a new font will definitely not be easy, and why should it be? No one said that it's going to be an easy thing to do. However, it's very rewarding, and the advantages of creating your own characters far outweigh any and all efforts that you need to put into it. For more videos like this one, subscribe to the PrintBest channel and click on the bell icon to be notified about any upcoming videos. We hope that you found this guide useful and that you can create some awesome fonts. That's all for now. We'll see you next time.